Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Today, I welcome you to Troop 22's 101st anniversary celebration. My name is Bill Jones, and I am the Troop 22 Committee Chair. For us in the troop, this is a momentous occasion. For any organization to survive for 101 years is quite an accomplishment. For a totally volunteer organization, I think it is quite remarkable. Troop 22 is the oldest active Scout troop in Braintree, and the troop has been sponsored by the First Congregational Church since the unit's organization in 1921, so for the full 101 years. I hope you enjoy the program, and at the end, find out that you have learned a little bit more about Scouting and Troop 22. Okay, at this time, what I'd like to do is invite Paul Spinney up to do an invocation.
Thank you. We thank you for this day. Help us to do our best every day, and forgive us when we slip. Teach us to be kind to other people and to help them at all times. Bless our parents, teachers, and leaders, and all members of Scouting. Bless our Lord in your love for us. Help us to be better Scouts, and let us do the best for you. Amen.
Thank you, Paul. For our opening exercises, I'm going to call up Dan McDonald, who is the Scoutmaster of the troop. And Dan, do you want to come up? Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Well, I'm going to start this off, and I'll actually call up the Senior Patrol Leader, Ryan Ricciarelli. We'll start us off for the colors.
All right, can everybody please rise? Please post the colors. All right, will everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, will everybody please join me in the Scout Oath? On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty, to guard my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Will everybody please join me in the Scout law? A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. All right, will the color guard please return to their seats?
Folks are going to be seated. By the way, I skipped a step. You're welcome to open up the programs at this time. There is an agenda schedule at the front of the handout. So, by the way, I just want to recognize that Valerie Johnson, who is the church lead soprano at the First Congregational Church, did the singing, and Keith Sagone is the church music director. So I thank them for doing that. Yeah. Okay. There's going to be a little movement on the schedule because of some time commitments that folks have. And what I would like to do is to, at this time, invite the Honorable State Senator Walter F. Timilty to come forward if he has any words to say.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. This is truly a wonderful occasion celebrating the 101st anniversary of Troop 22, and the first thing I'd like to do is thank my friend Alana at the door who handed me this patch. I think it's great, and it will be prominently displayed in my office at the State House, so thank you very much, Alana, and each and every person who put this wonderful celebration together. Troop 22, obviously, it has a wonderful history in a town chock full of great history and great moments and great organizations. And I must say that Troop 22 is the cream of the crop and has been a force for good, not just for this great town of Braintree, but for our entire region. So to our Scouts, Scout alumni, past and present, and our Scout leaders and Scout parents, thank you for what you've done to make sure that the tradition of service and dedication to community with Troop 22 lives on. Representative Mark Cusack, Senator John Keenan, and myself offered a resolution from the Massachusetts General Court, which is an official document of the Great and General Court and is recorded in the records of the Massachusetts Great and General Court. And it reads as follows. The Massachusetts Great and General Court resolutions congratulating the Boy Scouts of America Troop 22 in the town of Braintree on the 101st year of its establishment. Whereas on November 13th, 2022, the Boy Scouts of America Troop 22 in the town of Braintree will celebrate the 101st anniversary of its establishment. And whereas Troop 22 has been sponsored by the First Congregational Church of Braintree for all 101 years of its establishment and is known as the oldest Boy Scout troop in the town of Braintree. And whereas Troop 22 has produced 114 Eagle Scouts, since its establishment in 1921 and has provided training in the aims of scouting to more than 1,000 men, with those aims being character development, citizenship training, leadership development, and personal fitness. And whereas Troop 22 is committed to performing and completing projects to help and aid its sponsor and the community in the town of Braintree, and whereas the top priority of Troop 22 is to prepare its members with skill sets that will and aid them in their future endeavors and to produce adults who will be successful in their calling. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Massachusetts Great and General Court hereby congratulates the Boy Scouts of America Troop 22 in the town of Braintree on the 101st anniversary of its establishment, and further extends to them its sincere best wishes for continued success in the years to come, and be it further resolved that a copy of these resolutions be transmitted forthwith by the Clerk of the State Senate to the Boy Scouts of America, Troop 22 in the town of Braintree. It has been adopted this November 3rd, 2022, and it has been signed by our Senate President, Karen E. Spilka, our Clerk of the Senate, Michael D. Hurley, our Speaker of the House, Ronald Mariano, our Clerk of the House, Stephen T. James, myself, one very proud state senator, Walter F. Timilty, Representative Mark J. Cusack, and Senator John F. Keenan. It truly is a privilege to be here with you all today with our Town Council President, Meredith Berica. I know Mayor Kokoris is on his way. Congratulations to Troop 22. You truly are a force for greatness here in this town, and we thank you for everything that you have done and will continue to do. So thank you so much. God bless.
Okay, for our next speaker, we will to have the Honorable Mayor, Town of Braintree, Charles Kokoris, and I guess if he's here, he can come right up to the podium. Good timing.
Good afternoon, everyone. How we doing? I just, I'd like to take a moment and just recognize the 101st anniversary of Boy Scout Troop 22. Scouting is such an integral part of our community, and we see from the mayor's office all of the great things that our scouts do, whether it's Eagle Scouts that are doing major projects throughout our town. But scouting is important because we see what it does, how it strengthens our youth in our community and creates such great citizens. And, we 100% support our scouting, and I know that we're fortunate that whenever we need anything, if we need volunteers for anything, that the Scouts are always there to help us. So we truly appreciate that, and we appreciate the commitment on the Scouts' behalf, but also parents, making sure that they have everything they need to be good citizens. And we I just wanted to take a minute and recognize this occasion with a citation, and it honors and celebrates Boy Scout Troop 22. And in recognition of the 101st anniversary of Scouting, the town of Braintree recognize your preparing youth with skills for their future callings and making strong citizens. And be it known that the town of Braintree hereby extends the greatest appreciation and gratitude for your years of dedication to Scouting. And as mayor of the town of Braintree, on behalf of its residents, we thank you. Thank you, folks.
And for our third speaker in this section, I have Braintree Town Council President, District 4 Councilor Meredith Borica.
Thank you so much for having me. It is really an honor to be here today. There are not many institutions that are so critical to civic life as Scouting is, instilling the values of good citizenship and building good citizens, and for now more than a century. And how lucky we are that here in Braintree, the strong commitment to Scouting and the values it imbues have been handed down for more than 100 years through Troop 22. So it is a real honor today to provide the troop on behalf of the Town Council with this commendation, which reads, "The Braintree Town Council, in recognition of Troop 22 of Braintree, Massachusetts, founded in 1921. Congratulations in celebrating the 101st anniversary and having been sponsored by the First Congregational Church of Braintree for all 101 years. Congratulations on your continued citizenship, hard work, and dedication." So thank you so much, and we'll look forward to the next 100.
Okay, we have several guest speakers here today. And first guest speaker is Brian Feather from the Mayflower Council. Brian Feather is the Scout Executive of the Mayflower Council. He was born and raised in Orlando, Florida, where he started his scouting career over 30 years ago. He has served 5 local councils, the last 3 as Scout Executive. Brian has been married to Marilyn for 35 years, and they have 3 grown children. They have 2 daughters and an Eagle Scout son. Very good. They also have 4 grandchildren, 2 who live in Arkansas and 2 in Texas. So I welcome Brian Feather to come forward and let's talk.
Thank you. It's certainly an honor to be invited to come and share a few comments commemorating the 101st anniversary of Troop 22 in Braintree. As you probably know, the Boy Scouts of America was founded in 1910 after some leaders spent some time in England and were introduced to the scouting program. They brought that back to benefit the youth in the United States. And once they got organized, it really took off very quickly. One of the fundamental structures that they established early on was that every troop would be chartered by a local community organization. So, First Congregational Church of Braintree is one of those that came on board very early. Scouting has had an impact. One of the first things publicly that they did was in 1913, the Boy Scouts were responsible for crowd control for the inauguration of Woodrow Wilson as president. Boy, I'm glad we don't have that responsibility anymore. Scouts helped in many ways. During World War I, they sold over $352 million worth of bonds, government war bonds. They've continued to serve our communities. I've been talking to leaders today. I was actually talking to a teacher at church this morning, and she was telling me about all the different projects that students of hers have done in the communities that they live in. So it's immense, the amount of community service that is provided through scouting. I don't know of any organization that's had a larger impact on our nation than the Boy Scouts. The latest poll that I saw stated that almost 40% of adult men had been involved in scouting at one point in their lives. Think about that. That's over 110 million alumni of this program. Because the chartered partner concept is a foundational part of the scouting organization, I believe personally that that's the reason that we've really become kind of woven into the fabric of our nation. There's no doubt that the diversity that we have throughout the country is immense, and I love to see how many different units that we have serving communities all across the country. We've certainly had our challenges, as any organization established in the early 1900s has, but I believe that we have been able to grow, adapt, and evolve in many ways. Growth is hard, but the foundation of scouting is strong, the values are strong, and that's helped us to move forward in a very positive manner, ensuring that we deliver the principles of scouting in a safe and nurturing environment to everybody who wants to participate. In 2017, the Old Colony Council and the Knox Trail Council boards decided that they would be better off to pool their resources and merge into one organization moving forward. And there was a lot of wisdom in that. And I've seen, certainly there have been some bumps along the way, but overall it's been a very successful and profitable merger for our council, for the scouting, and for the communities that we serve. The pros have certainly outweighed the cons. One of the best things that we did through that process was we had to select a name. And so the executive committee, very wisely, I think, chose youth leaders from around the council and gave them a task of presenting 2 names for consideration out of over 150 names that had been submitted. That group of youth leaders got together several times. They talked through it. They debated the pros and cons of different names. And they came to a consensus to offer the Mayflower Council as the name of the new council. But because they had been asked to present 2 names, they presented the second one as well, but they made it clear to the executive committee that they were unified in their recommendation of the Mayflower Council. Wisely, the adults listened to the youth and selected the Mayflower Council as our name. And I believe that that's a testament to not only the leadership, but us trusting our youth. We train them, we trust them, and we must let them lead. So that was an exciting process. It was fun to be a part of that. And we've continued down that track of involving young people in major decisions within the council. As you might imagine, COVID-19 had a major impact and set us back in our recruiting efforts. A lot of families just didn't know the resiliency of scouting. I saw units that went out and bought fire pits and outdoor heaters so that they could continue to meet through even our New England winters. We were successful in having our units continue to provide a quality program to our young people. And as a result, our retention, we're currently at about 74% retention. And that is an astronomical number. We're ranked in the top 20 in retention across the country, and that's a testament to the program that Troop 22, as well as others, have put on and continue to deliver the promises of scouting. Also proud to report that we've had 7 months of consecutive membership growth. I think the prospects for scouting look very strong moving forward. I'm excited about the energy and enthusiasm I see. I love seeing the kids participate and watching them learn how to implement the skills that are taught to them by our Scout leaders so that they can reach their full potential. Thank you again for inviting me. I love being here and celebrating with you. Tremendous accomplishment and a testament to the leadership in Troop 22. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Brian. For our next speaker, I have Patrick J. Leonard Jr., who's a Braintree historian. And a little information, when people in town talk about the history of Braintree, chances are Pat Leonard's name will come into the conversation. Pat is active and is actively involved in many historical projects in Braintree, including the Braintree Bicentennial Time Capsule Society's annual Time Capsule Inspection Ceremony. As historian of Braintree post-86 of the American Legion, he coordinated more than 40 ceremonies honoring Braintree people who served in World War I and helped to set up permanent archive at the Braintree Historical Society honoring their service. Pat became a member of the Braintree Rotary Club in 1972, is now an honorary member, and is also the club's historian. You can see a theme here, right? Historian. Pat has worked with Boy Scout Troop 22 on many historical ceremonies for close to 20 years, and he designed and created and printed the program for today's ceremony. He has also worked with the Cub Scout Pack 22 on historical observances, I should say, including the annual Treaty of Paris of 1783 observance. Pat and his wife, Norma, now run a family daycare at their home in Braintree. He has two married children, stepchildren, Norma Denise McDonough Bath, who runs an advertising agency, and lives with her husband, Brendan, in Yorba Linda, California, and William Charles McDonough, a professional chef instructor who lives with his wife, Carrie, and Pat, and Norma's grandson, Liam, in Whitman. Now I would like to welcome lifelong historian with a very special interest in incredible history of the town of Braintree and the history of our own Troop 22, Patrick Leonard Jr.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that very kind introduction, every word of which was true. So, on your program, it says I'm going to talk about scouting, past, present, and future. And Bill told me that I'm the keynote speaker. Sounds like a history lesson. I was a history teacher for years, and you should always start a history class with a little bit of philosophy, something that people can take home with them, make it part of their being, and help them to cope with things better on a day-to-day basis. And I'd like to begin with the old saying, you know, if you have a problem with a person, walk a mile in their shoes. And then, if that person still has a problem with you, he's a mile away and barefoot. I served as a history teacher at many levels from grade 6 to university. In schools here in Massachusetts, I taught in Situate, great town, Hanover, great town, Randolph, great town, and I was head of the history department at Randolph High School for many years. I lived overseas for more than 20 years. For several years, I didn't speak English. I spoke Spanish almost exclusively. I could do this program today in Spanish, and have done programs in South America and Central America on historical topics in the Spanish language. I also taught U.S. history at the biggest international school in Central America, located in San Salvador, El Salvador. It's called Escuela Americana, which is the American school. And I also taught at an international school, and I was principal of an international school in Valencia, Venezuela, called the Colegio Internacional de Carabobo. Carabobo was the state of Venezuela where it was. And Valencia is an industrial center, but a beautiful city. And the children in that school were the children of the executives of the American companies, which were then working in Venezuela. My secretary was the wife of the head of General Motors of Venezuela. I first went to Venezuela actually as a teacher, a special ed teacher, and I was a benefit on the contract of the head of Johnson & Johnson of Venezuela. His son was handicapped. I'm a special ed teacher. I have a degree in special ed, and he was always guaranteed that his son would have a special teacher for him, and I was that special teacher for 2 years. When they say past, present, and future, it sounds like a history lesson, but it's a lot more than a history lesson when you talk about scouting. It's about why an organization like the Boy Scouts of America, and specifically today, Troop 22, have remained vibrantly active for over a century and are looking forward to a new century of service. I think it'd be nice if everybody joined him. He had the right idea. 101 years is a long time. I say I went to the Abraham Lincoln School in East Braintree and say, well, you went to school when Lincoln was president? No, I went to the Abraham Lincoln School. Scouting in Braintree actually started in 1917. The United States declared war on Germany April 6, 1917. Scouting began that year. Mr. Feathers from the council mentioned scouts selling bonds. When we look around later on, you'll see the medals that they used to earn for selling those bonds. And the children who were scouts, who became scouts from South Congregational, or Congregational Church, First Congregational Church, also earned those medals and sold the bonds. The first troop in First Congregational Church was Troop 3, and you'll see the roster of Troop 3 on some things that we got from Boy Scout National Headquarters. Then Troop 2 began its career of service in 1921, became Troop 22 in 1941, and is still serving the church and the community today. One of the things students used to fear was memorizing dates. There's only 3 dates, and you don't even have to memorize them. 1917, when Scouting came here, 1921, when Scouting came to First Congregational Church, and 1941, when Troop 2 became Troop 22. There have been hundreds of boys in Troops 2, 3, and 22 over the past century. I heard the number 1,000 earlier today with another presenter. They've done thousands of projects. They've gone on hundreds of campouts. Fathers have driven thousands of miles to bring the Scouts to and from meetings. Mothers have ironed thousands of shirts and found countless things to get ready thousands of times at the last minute. Mom, I put it over there and it's gone. You moved it, right? And the last minute to get ready. In the midst of all of that, what are the common threads of scouting? When we talk about the history of scouting, I could give you a litany of activities and campouts and yard sales and cleanups, but that's not the purpose of my presentation today. Because a lot of organizations do yard sales and not so many do campouts, but they do a lot of activities. But scouting has something very special. I was an officer in the Army. That something special is there too. It's a sense of what you belong to and why you are there and what you're doing and your purpose. What is it that makes a young boy or a young lady want to participate in scouting? What is it that makes the parents happy to hear when a child comes home and says, Dad, Mom, I want to be a scout? And the parents are so willing to help them. I know many people in this room who've driven many miles, done many things to help their children advance their careers in scouting. Why? All of us have one thing in common today, man, woman, whatever our experience might be, and that is that none of us have to be here today. You could be home watching a football game, playing video games, sleeping, reading. Why are you here? You're here because you believe in the most important thing in your own life, your own children. What better place can you be on any given day of any year than doing something that benefits your own children. By benefiting them, you benefit us all. And to dedicate your time to your own children and dedicate your time to other children, as the Scout leaders and every Scout parent does, is benefiting the community and all of us. Scouting teaches and reinforces many, many core values, values that are universal. I'm a history teacher, and I've enjoyed teaching history. History is like part of my DNA. But what do I see throughout all history? Certain things. And those certain things are all part of Scouting. They are eternal values. It doesn't matter what language you speak, what race you are a member of, what religion you believe in, what country you're from, your ancestry, your DNA. There are certain things across everything that is the same for everyone, and Scouting embodies those values. The family is at the center of Scouting. Here you are. How could a parent be more proud than to see their son or daughter wear the uniform of a Scout? I've been to Eagle Courts of Honor and see the pride of everyone in the audience that this person, our Scout, has achieved that great honor in Scouting. If you have a Scout in the family, you are as parents, you're auxiliary members of the troop. The family comes together in Scouting. Scouting teaches responsibility. Of the greatest importance, and one of the most important parts of Scouting and of life, is planning and setting goals. Most people go through life with no real goal. Well, I'll get a job. I'll go to school. I'll get the double cheeseburger, I guess. My wife will say, no, you gotta. Many people go through no goal. They go job to job, they do the best they can, but they have no plan, they have no goal. Becoming a Scout is a goal. What does Scouting teach you? Have goals. Try to achieve things. Don't simply meander through life. You want to decide that you want to do something and then do it. You know, I've won a lot of things in my life, and I've been very proud of them. And I've lost a lot of things in my life, too. Some of them bother me now, and some of them don't. If a better man than I beat me, he was just better than me. But if I lost because I didn't try, if I lost because I didn't work hard enough, if I lost because I didn't plan, that still bothers me now. I could have done it, and I didn't. All you Scouts become Eagles. You can do it. You just have to decide, I am going to do this. Have a plan. Have a goal. Becoming a Scout is a goal. Planning to get each merit badge is a goal. Is every goal realized? No, it is not. But planning and achieving the goals makes the next one and the next one and the next one more logical. Maybe not easier, but easier to get than it was before. Scouting teaches you to have the courage to fail. You say it doesn't take any courage to fail? Yes, it does. Henry Ford, the great automobile manufacturer, said, you know, if you say you can do it, you're right. And if you say you can't do it, you're right. You're your own judge. I ran an event one time, big mother-daughter thing for 6th grade girls. The young lady who was the mistress of ceremonies at that was a rather shy, retiring young lady. When the show was over, the mother came up to me and said, Mr. Leonard, if you ever told me that you were going to put my daughter in front of all of those people in that big audience and run that show for all of those girls, I would have told you she can't do that. And I'd say, ma'am, I didn't know she couldn't do that, and I guess she didn't know she couldn't do it either. Set a goal. Achieve the goal. Work hard. Have the courage to fail, because you know what you learn when you fail? That you can get up and keep on going and maybe do it better the next time. The important thing is keep getting up and try to do big things. Theodore Roosevelt, the great president, there was a person who, although he may not have been a Scout, was a Scout in here, trying to do things. He said, I pity not the man who fails, but the man who never tried. The people who live in that gray space between success and failure. spend lives of mediocrity, who never really do anything because they're afraid to try to do it because they might fail. When I was a teacher, I'd tell my students, how many of the baskets that you do not shoot go in? None, Mr. Leonard. That's right. So keep trying. Maybe you'll get one. If you get one, that's more than the none. Scouts do not find an excuse when something goes wrong. Oh, it was sick. It was our first. You find a solution. You find a way to win it the next time. Look at what we did. Don't blame it on somebody else. Look inside. What did I do? What can I do? And a very important thing, too, is ask. Your best friend is your scoutmaster in a troop. Ask if you don't know. Scouting is about teamwork, too. I said I was an officer in the Army. I was a cadet at Northeastern University. The Army is teamwork. Scouting is teamwork. It's very important. We don't do these things all alone. Sometimes you must, but there are other times when you must work together and know how to work together. Honesty, integrity, perseverance. You heard the Scout Oath. You have an attachment in your programs today. I wanted everyone to have that Scout Oath. If you're a Scout, you know it already. You can recite it. You don't need this. But it is more than just a Scout Oath. It's a way of life. And it's a statement of purpose and integrity and honesty and dignity. The Scout law has not changed. Just open to the center of your programs for a second, please. These 2 pages, and then back up 1 page to the Buick. The reason these pages were put in here is that a lot of things change, but some things don't. Everything over here has changed dramatically. Has Scouting changed? The uniforms have changed. The technology has changed. But has the objective changed? No. These are the things that change. Turn the page to the center of your booklet, and these are the things that do not. The goals of Scouting, the dignity of Scouting, the purpose of Scouting, the result of Scouting are the same as they were in 1910, in 1921, when Troop 2 started, in 1941, when Troop 22 went on, and today. The values of Scouting are universal. The values of Scouting are eternal. That's why Scouting and Troop 22 have been serving for over 100 years and are continuing to serve today and into the future. That's why the achievements of Scouting in the past have become vital parts of our nation's history. Look at how many prominent men and women have been involved in Scouting in one way or another. That's why the discipline and values of Scouting have been and continue to be builders of character. When you see an empty shopping cart in the middle of the parking lot at Stop and Shop or any other place, do you push it out of the way or do you walk around it? Nobody's telling you what to do. But a Scout will see that and say, you know, somebody might have an accident. Somebody might hit that in the dark. I'm going to push that over to the side. Character is doing the right thing because you know it's the right thing, not because someone told you to do it. You know what's right. I gave a talk at the Rotary Club one time, the district conference in Rhode Island. So why does the Rotary Club do things? Because they are the right thing to do. It's the same thing with Scouting and many other organizations. Why are you here? Why are we doing the things we do with Scouting? Because they are the right things to do. Nobody's paying you to do that, and it's not about money. The money comes and goes. I would tell my students, if you're going to choose a career in life and you put money as number 1 on the list, you may regret it every day that you breathe. You want to do it for the right reason, something you love, something you enjoy, something where you achieve, and you can love, enjoy, and achieve in Scouting. Scouting has and will always bring out the best in people. The young men and women of Scouting today are the promise of our future. The history of Troop 22 is something that I have learned a lot about in the last 6 months. And I want to share a piece of that history with you, and it's a very special history. And I want to call up, at this point in time, 4 people to help me share that bit of history with you. The first, and he doesn't have to walk very far to get here, is the chairman of Troop 22, Bill Jones. Big round of applause for Bill. Yeah, right here. No, right here. Right there. Right on the mark on the floor there. Yeah. The second, I'm really happy when I see this man. I went to South Junior High School, and this man went to South Junior High School with me. Sometimes I look in the mirror in the morning, I say, geez, Patrick, you're starting to get old. Then I look at this man, I say, wow, this guy looks so young. We don't get old, we just get a little bit wiser, I hope. The man I graduated from high school with, Braintree High School class of 1963, Paul Spinney. Everybody knows Paul, our advancement chair. And the third man I've been working with for several years on many events, our Scoutmaster, Dan McDonald. Dan, if you would come up, please. And I have a very special guest here today, too. Bill, in his introduction, said that I had been a member of the Rotary Club, and the immediate past president of the Rotary Club, who was a Ranger at one time, is with us today. And Denver Gibbs, if you would come forward, please. You get many awards, but the one I'm going to present in a couple minutes, there's only one on the planet. And you cannot duplicate it, and you cannot give it to anyone other than Troop, originally 2 and now 22, Braintree, Massachusetts. Take a look at your program booklets once again, please, and I would like you to open up to the page that looks like this. Braintree Rotary Cup won by Troop 2. Here's the Braintree Rotary Club, and here's the descendants of Troop 2. The first time that Troop 2 won the Braintree Rotary Cup, and they had to win it 3 times to keep it, was on February 9th of 1926. And this is a copy of the original article about that victory. The kids, the Scouts, competed here in this room, and they earned 27 points, and number 2 was 15, so they had a smashing victory in Scout skills, February 9th, 1926. And the Rotary Club sponsored that. So I would like to give this copy of that article to Denver, our past president of the Rotary Club, so that he could give it from me and the Rotary Club to Bill Jones for the archive of Troop 22. What they were competing for was the Rotary Cup, big trophy. Denver, if you could give that to Bill, just right around front, right here. Now just stand like this. Just turn it around so it's facing outward. The second time they won was on February 9th of 1927, and that's the one that's in your program booklet. Braintree Rotary Cup won by Troop 2, another smashing victory for our young people. And Denver, if you could give this one to Paul, please. I had to win it 3 times to keep it. So imagine what was going on in April of 1928 when Troop 2 came into this room with 2 victories under their belt, and the Scoutmaster is saying, you know, the important thing really is just to compete. You don't really have to win. And the kids said, what? No, the important thing is to win, you know, the competition, but we want to come in first. And you know something? They did. And they won it a 3rd time. It says the Boy Scouts of Braintree, this was March 30th, 1928. The Boy Scouts of Braintree will hold their 3rd annual Scout meet at the Town Hall. 7 troops will compete for the Rotary Cup, which has been twice won by Troop 2. It is necessary to win this cup 3 times to hold it permanently. And this is, with the Rotary symbol on this one, if you could please give this one, Denver, to our Scoutmaster from the Rotary Club to Troop 2. As a history person, I spend a lot of time on eBay. A lot of the things in the exhibit that I set up down there, in fact, everything there. No, not everything. I got some things from Boy Scout National Headquarters. And I'd like to thank Miss Tracy Waters from Boy Scout National Headquarters for sending me copies of the 1918 report from the town of Braintree on Boy Scouting activities. Take a look at it this afternoon and see just what our Scouts were doing during World War I. You would not believe the activities. What happened to that trophy that those kids were trying to get and won? 10 years ago, I was searching on eBay, and the first thing I put in is always Braintree. And up comes something I still can't believe. And for this part of the presentation, we need 2 Scouts up here, because it was not the adults who won this. They coached them, but they didn't play the game. So we need 2 people to represent the Scouts, and I cannot think of 2 better people than, first, our senior patrol leader, Ryan Ricciarelli. So Ryan, Star Scout Ryan, would you please come up forward? And our Eagle Scout, Quinlan Connors. Quinlan, would you please come up forward? Okay, right here. Right on either side of the podium here, please. But leave a space. I don't want anybody to block me, okay? Bill set up a beautiful exhibit of trophies down there. They were cared for by a man named Eugene Cleves, who was Scoutmaster at Troop 2 for many years. I remember his 1937 Packard Roadster, Massachusetts 17037, in the parking lot of the Braintree Savings Bank, over and over again. Mr. Cleves is the one that took care of all those beautiful cups for many, many, many years. Shined them, made them look clean, made them look nice. December of 2012, I'm just going to read this so I don't miss a word. I saw an incredible thing for sale on eBay, and I brought it with me today. I own it now, but I'm only going to own it after 10 years for a couple more seconds. I'm going to present it to the past president of the Braintree Rotary Club. Then it will belong once again, as it did in 1926, 27, and 28, to the Braintree Rotary Club. But it was won by Troop 2. It's the original trophy, which the troop won 3 times, in 1926, 1927, and finally in 1928. I don't know how it ever left Braintree, but today it's coming home. It doesn't look as shiny as the ones that Mr. Cleves had, because it wasn't cared for the way that Mr. Cleves had it, but it's here. and it's ours. And when I say it's ours, it's back to Braintree once again. The engraving is clear if you look close, but I don't want to have to look that close in front of an audience, so I wrote it down. It says Annual Rally Braintree Boy Scouts. And at the bottom of the trophy it says, presented by the Rotary Club of Braintree. Then in the middle it says Troop 2, February 9th, 1926. Troop 2, February 9th, 1927. Troop 2, April 4th, 1928. Today I'd like to add another date, Troop 22, November 13th, 2022. I am now going to donate this before all of you to the Braintree Rotary Club, where it started. And our past president, Denver, is then going to give it to our senior patrol leader and our Eagle Scout so that this trophy, after many wanderings over many decades, can now come home to Troop 22's trophy case and join all of its comrades that Mr. Cleaves guarded and Bill took care of. Denver, please present it to our students, to our scouts. A round of applause for our trophy for Denver and our scouts. Okay, yeah. Okay. How about a standing ovation for all of our scouts, our scout masters, past, present, and future? Thank you all very, very much. Gentlemen, don't pull that too hard, please. Make a wish, but don't pull hard. Okay. Also, before people sit down, I'd like to thank our senior patrol leader for his work with today's program. It's always a delight for me to work with young people. And I would like to thank Quinlan, who worked on one of our projects. I remember him up here as a speaker a few years ago. And certainly Ryan's mother, Jennifer, and Quinlan's mother, Donna, for all the things that they have done over the years. And then Bill, who was a great, great help. This booklet, I could never have put this booklet together without the help of Bill and Paul. I told them, really, I'm going into a topic I don't know a whole lot about. I know a lot about it now, and a lot of that is thanks to them. So Bill and Paul Spinney, thank you very, very much. And Dan has brought the young men to time capsule ceremonies on 4th of July many, many, many years. We had to discontinue because of the pandemic, but the ceremonies were better because of Troop 22 under the leadership of Scoutmaster Duran, who is here today. Where is Scoutmaster Duran? Oh, he left. Well, a giant thank you to him, and certainly to Dan. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you. Okay, boys. Sit down. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay. And Denver?
Thank you.
Could you just tell them what a ranger, this gentleman was...
I don't remember.
Yeah, Denver is past president of Rotary. He was a scout also.
Well, so this was in Brooklyn, New York, and it was through my church, but we were Royal Rangers. So, yeah, that's it. Many years ago.
You see, when we set up Rotary meetings, they get 30 minutes to talk. He gets one, I get the other 29. The greatest gift which you can give to your children and our youth is not money, because the money will go, or any material thing, because they'll break it, it'll wind up in the closet. What is it? It's what you're giving them right now. Your time. Your time. I taught people from grade 6 to the university. I was chief of discipline. Okay, kid, here's what's going to happen to you. It's something for somebody like me to talk to somebody 6'2" and try to discipline him. When I retired from school in 2015, My wife runs a daycare at home. She said, Patrick, if you want to come downstairs during the day, be nice. You have to get licensed as a family child care assistant. But I'm licensed up to superintendent of school. No, it's different. It's different, believe me, to teach someone who's 17 and to teach someone who's 2. But you know something? It's beautiful to work with the little people. It really, really is, because everything is new and special to them. And at that time, you start giving them your time, because that's what they want. They want to be with you. When do the little people most enjoy it? When we play games with them, when we're with them, when we give them our time. And the same is true to you. You know the song Sunrise, Sunset from Fiddler on the Roof? I'm not going to sing it to you. We had a beautiful singer today, but where is the little girl I carried? Where is the little boy at play? Working in daycare is hard emotionally, because they come at 3 months and they leave talking to you, arguing with you, and then they go. But they stay inside. Your children grow up in front of you, and then they go. And they come back, but it's not the same. When you share their scouting years and their early years, you share the most beautiful thing that you will ever have in your life, and it is so ethereal. It is so fleeting. It goes so quick. Enjoy every minute of it while you can. Every achievement. Give them your love. Give them your time. Be with them, because the time will come. Going, Ma. Cat's in the cradle, right? My boy grew up like me, yeah. Take advantage of every minute. Everyone in this room has done that. You're doing it right now. As I conclude today my presentation, and I do thank you for your attention, and I thank Bill and the leaders of Scout Troop 22 and the Scouts of 22 for this time, because this time is very, very important to me to say thank you to Bill, to Paul, to Dan, to all of the Scouts over all of the years for all that they have done to enrich my life and the organizations that I represent. It's my hope you continue to give your children and our youth that most precious gift of time. The time you give them now benefits all of us forever. My best wishes and thanks to the Scout leaders and Scouts of Troop 22 for giving me the privilege, the honor of speaking with you today and joining in the celebration of the troop's century of service and 101st anniversary. Thank you to all. May God bless the Scout leaders and Scouts of Troop 22 and the Scouts all over the world of Scouting, and God bless America. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. At this time, what I'd like to do is just to get some folks to stand up and be recognized. And first, what I'd like to do is to have the Troop 22 committee members please stand. You know, the Paul Spinney, Irma Lauder, Tally Lauder, Liz O'Keefe. Can you please stand and be recognized? Come on. Yeah. Okay. Also, I'm aware that there should be some former Scoutmasters that are out in the audience, and I ask that all the former Scoutmasters please stand and be recognized. You know, I don't know, Dick Joes, no, okay. Don't have all the names. Now, I would also like all the Troop 22 leaders, all the Scoutmaster and all the Assistant Scoutmasters and people who help them directly, to stand and be recognized because you guys really run the work with the boys. And another group is the Eagle Scouts. Would all the Eagle Scouts in the audience please stand and be recognized? Come on. Oh. So let me see, thank you very much to all those folks. Right now, we have another speaker, and this one is Craig Bonds from Troop 22 and First Congregational Church. Craig has a history with Scouts. He was a Cub Scout where his mother was the den leader. He continued into Boy Scouts where he experienced a scouting trip to the Philmont Scout Ranch High Adventure Camp in Cimarron, New Mexico. He currently is the team lead of the Prudential team at the First Congregational Church. Come on up. Thank you. That's Philmont now, if you want to open up.
Bill's hanging something that I'd be willing to bet very few of you have seen, and I won't speak about it until I'm just about to run out of time when Bill says, "Get out of here." I will be as brief as I can. Bill said, don't take more than 10 minutes, and we're running over time now, I'm pretty sure. But in any event, scouting means so much to the church. We want to give you some idea of how the symbiotic relationship goes, and symbiotic as well, and it's by all intent very active. So that's the last of the big words. You don't have to Google. So the church activity, as you've understood how it relates to the Scouts, goes back for 100 years. And if you notice in your catalog, there is a map, not a map per se, but a whole list of the plaques that are up on the wall down at the lower parish hall in the church. So for you Scouts and parents, when you get a chance, just take a look at them in hard copy time. You'll also understand that the church itself is not so much a fixture, it's what's within the church. At about the middle of your program, there's also a church picture of one of the buildings that we had originally, but it succumbed to fire. But it's an illustration that scouting goes on, but that's not necessarily because there's a physical building there. But those of us that have been through the scouting program often don't understand what it means, or do we really appreciate it until we get out? I mean, think of it, for you older Scouts, those that have hit Eagle status, probably sat in rooms like this with many Scouts around and were succumbed to the blah, 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 what's it going on. It was just a little tedious. And having an opportunity to sit up back, I could see a little of that tedium creeping in on one of the tables. But that's perfectly understandable because you won't really appreciate what it is Scouting does for you and what you do for Scouting until you've had a chance to go through the process, from the Cub process, through the regular program, on to Explorer, Eagle Scouting, all great challenges. I think it was Camp Squanto that you folks go to, or you Scouts go to. And I'm from a different part of the state, just south of Worcester. And Treasure Valley was our haunt. Treasure Valley today is a slightly different program. It's more structured towards individual programs on a weekly basis. You go in for a week assignment and you can concentrate on, let's say, field type exercises. You can concentrate on long gun, so you can learn about the shooting aspects of what we face today. There's boating, and you kind of structure as you go in, which is really kind of unique and very interesting. So the program itself, and again, I apologize because I don't know how deep quantum gets into this, but I do know from my experiences that it's just a wonderful opportunity to begin to challenge yourself with merit badges. Nothing quite like getting merit badges when you're out in the field and you're actually doing the what you might consider to be a silly thing, like getting the cooking merit badge. Just the time trying to get a fire started can be very tedious, but it builds character. So how does the church and the scouting go together? Well, it doesn't have a nexus within the church itself. It is within scouting, because scouting can go to any church or any organization that has a welcoming door. First Church, of course, has a door that's been welcome for a long period of time. It's created some wonderful scouts. And if you actually think about it and you concentrate, you could one day become the mayor of Braintree, Massachusetts. What? Well, Charlie wasn't in the church program, but he was one of the youth in the youth program that we had very active at the church. Ours was the only church in Braintree that had a real bus. And we would take that bus and haul the kids all over. We would get the kids through fundraising activities and managed to have several trips to Florida, down to Disney World. And all these things take place because you have a large organization of people, but it's not the physical establishment that really makes it work. It's the people within it. And you begin to see it, too. I'm going to offer an embarrassment that I had. As a young man, as a scout, I just couldn't speak in public. As you can see, I must have gotten over that, but I would try, and it just didn't work. And the interesting thing is, it was the scouting program that began to force me to do that sort of thing. I don't know what the merit badge is or what they call it, but there is a public facility type merit badge, public speaking. And I would get up and be forced to talk. My parents were the driving force there. You've got to learn to speak in public. And it got so bad as a young man that I'd get up to speak, I'd shake, I'd quake, my eyes would water, my face would turn red. But I managed through the years to get over that particular hurdle. I did so well at getting over that hurdle that I ended up with a nickname, Pinky. Nothing more embarrassing to have your high school classmates call you Pinky. But nevertheless, it's something that I lived with. The whole aspect of scouting is something that I think begins to weigh home when you begin to think of the people that you meet and all the activities that one can get involved in and what it does for self-esteem. So again, the fact that it's a two-way street is something that's very enduring, and it can be challenging, but it means a lot to both parties. That's the symbiotic part of it. One feeds the other and continues back and forth. First Church finds it very useful, frankly, to have scouts show up after a snowstorm to clean the walks, clean the steps, so that people of my age can struggle into church these days. During the summer, lawn cleanup, mowing the lawns, things of that nature, all very well done. Those scouts that get into the Eagle program have benefited the church by establishing, let's say, Eagle projects. There's always some idea about an Eagle project in the church because a building as old as we have, it does have a lot of needs for, physical repairs and things of that nature. Areas that need to be painted and floors done, things of that nature. Doesn't seem to be too, let's say, interesting, but nevertheless, it helps the church, and the church provides that kind of resource. Also, if you had to have a program where you had to pay rent as a scout to be able to have a program, it could be burdensome. The church provides that for no charge. The congregation is glad to provide it, and the members of the congregation, whether they've been scouts or not, chip in and do that sort of activity. We've been very fortunate with the program. We have let's say a garage, half of which is utilized by the scouts to be able to put their camping equipment and things of that nature within the garage. So that's that relationship that works, and it works for both parties in this particular case. And as you saw, and as you've heard, going back 100 years, that's just amazing, absolutely amazing. And eventually, as a youngster, 13, 14 years old, you don't think too much about it. But then all of a sudden you'll be standing in front of an audience like this and you'll realize you're 80. And it somehow or other just kind of slips away, and you've enjoyed a lot of scouting that has been so beneficial to you that you won't begin to think about it until you have an opportunity to present to such a nice group as this. So, I'm using up more time than you need, but let me just close with one particular thing, and that is the things that you can do that you don't even think about. This is a scarf from Philmont Scout Ranch in Cimarron, New Mexico. They have some wonderful programs. I don't know how it's structured in this part of the country, but we would get together as individual chapters of scouting because it costs a few bucks to get there, but the parents that would willing to combine and send their children out, it was just a fantastic opportunity to get together with 50 scouts and leaders, jump on a bus in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, and then motor out to Cimarron, stopping along the way at military bases I don't know whether they still have that kind of a relationship, but military bases would allow us to come in, spend the night. And there's nothing that you will remember more of than having an opportunity to spend a night in West Point. So, again, it's just a fantastic program. This is just a teaser for you, and there aren't many of these around. So, again, I want to thank all of you for the privilege of having an opportunity. The church wants to thank Scouts for having their great interest in the First Congregational Church. Thank you very much.
And for our last speaker, we have Eagle Scout Quinlan Connors of Troop 22, of course. Quinlan earned his Eagle on November 6, 2021. Quinlan's Eagle project was conservation work at Pond Meadow Conservation Area in Braintree, building bog bridges, repairing bridges, providing erosion control measures, and updating the curio. Quinlan started his scout career in 2013 in Pac 22, joined Troop 22 in 2017. So welcome, Quinlan. Come on over.
All right, so my favorite scouting moment. You know, it wasn't a long time ago that likely on this very podium I was giving my Eagle Scout speech. But was that my most favorite savored memory of my scouting career? Without a question, it was certainly a benchmark achievement in not only Boy Scouts, but in my lifetime. But I ask, was it my most favorite scouting memory? Quite frankly, the answer is probably not. There is an old expression, it's not about the destination, but about the journey itself. It is the memories and actions of my scouting career that are most important to me. Not some badge with an eagle or a sash with an arrow on it. A badge or a sash is replaceable, but the memories I have made and the millions of other fellow scouts in the program have are invaluable. Now, before I get into my favorite scouting memory, I have a few, let's put it, honorable mentions. Starting off with Caleb's Hershey chocolate fondue fountain, Jason's Superman dive coming down from Lonesome Lake, Luca's spaghetti theft, Nate's Thomas English muffin bag shoe protector at West Point. Electric Chapel, Ryan and Nolan yelling Choco Taco in the Squano bathrooms. We shortly got yelled at after. Ryan tying a square knot with an extension cord during a Zoom meeting. Ryan's pizza, not made in a Dutch oven, but over a stovetop. It turned out horrendous. Ryan simply being Ryan. There's a lot of Ryan. Quincy, and Quincy will shine tonight. Go Donald, and Donald's snow tumbles at Lonesome Lake. And of course, the red, especially the blue. But I digress. One of my most favorite scouting memories happened not last year or the year before, but actually during my first year on a cold, rainy trip to West Point. We had just reached the top of a big hill on the hike to West Point. On our left, we could see the path, but rather than an actual trail like the one we were on, it turned into a paved road. There we would go to our campsite. There was also a path on the right, but this one was paved for about 10 feet, and the rest was all trail. There were kids coming back from this path, and as I watched them, all the kids coming out of that trail had a small, subtle detail in common. A small, metallic pin in what seemed to take the shape of a bull. This would later be confirmed by a sign that said Bull Hill. Our senior patrol leader at the time instructed us that we would split off into two groups, one that goes directed to the campsite and one that makes the climb up Bull Hill. Everyone that struggled, obviously, up the first hill should just go to the site. Everyone that wanted to continue should go up Bull Hill. I am proud to say I am one of the few scouts that actually went up the hill. The few younger scouts, anyways. For the pin, I remember clearly it was Colin's motivation to go up that hill. Once Colin said it, we all started saying it. We trudged up the hill through the small streams, mud, rocks, and a pipe that I had to American Ninja Warrior over. I laid on it, used all my strength, and eventually rolled over, as if I had just avoided a near-death experience. I didn't account for the mud immediately on the other side. Let's just say my backpack was not in mint condition afterward. After the pipe, we kept trudging on, and mud slowly turned into dirt, and dirt into rocks. Once in a while, one of the older scouts would yell, "For the pin!" or we would see someone totally wipe out going down the mountain. Everyone thinks that going down a mountain is easier than going up, right? Because, gravity and, not less energy. God save your soul if you thought that was the case in this situation, because it was certainly not, according to multiple mud victims after they had fallen going down Bull Hill. Although not a victim myself, but coming pretty darn close to it, I can attest to that statement being 100% accurate. Anyways, we got up there and I stepped foot on a big rock covering the whole top of the mountain. The view was awesome. What was the view? I got to see, simply put it, what a vegetable sees when they are in a steamer. Nothing. It was all fog, rain, and clouds. At last, I saw the source of all the pins from fellow scouts on the return trip, a member of the Army, handing them out, and we all rushed over to grab ours. We put them on our hats, clothes, and I think Colin was so excited to get his that he would have pinned it on his forehead if he got a chance. Of course, after, we took a picture, and since we still had the point of view of a steamed vegetable, we decided to descend shortly afterward. If my memory serves me well, I believe Ethan, one of the older scouts, took a pretty big tumble down. Or maybe it was Mr. McDonald. I'm still not quite sure. And this is what it's all about. I can replace a pin, which I think I found on eBay for 20 bucks, but I can't replace the memories of going up that hill and feeling awesome at the top. As Nick, all the way in the back, likes to say often, it's not about the destination, it's about the friends and memories that we make along the way. And he is completely right. My Eagle rank means nothing if it wasn't for the journey that came before reaching the Eagle summit, and I am grateful this troop was able to assist me in that journey. Although I've only been part of the troop for recent days, I am glad to be celebrating Troop 22's 101st anniversary, and I am thankful for the memories it has helped me fulfill in my life. Thank you.
Okay, I think we're a few minutes over. Just some closing remarks before we go into a benediction and the final items. This ends the formal program. I have a few closing remarks before the benediction. The buffet dinner follows the retiring of colors. The Scouts are very happy to wait until the guests and the leaders have their meals. The Scouts heard that, right? I hope. If you did not have a chance to view the various displays that the Scouts and adults have pulled together earlier, they will still be available along the sides, still be available after dinner. Also, I'm sure that the Scouts, present and past, and we have a number of past Eagle Scouts who past members, would love to answer any questions you have on the scouting experience of Troop 22. Final thanks. As we end our celebration of the Troop's 101st, I would like to express a thank you to all who attended, to all who participated, and to all who helped make this event possible, especially Joan Piasecki and Paul Spinney, Patrick Leonard, also deserve a special thank you for the work they did in the research, production, and very informative handout. I hope folks will take theirs home and share it with others, those booklets that were provided to you. We will now finish the program with a benediction, singing of God Bless America and retiring of colors. I'll ask that if committee member Tally Lotta could come up for the benediction, that would be good.
May the Scoutmaster of all those who will listen to him prepare for you for leaving this place. May he continue to remind you to help other people and to always do your best. May he return you safely to your families and your friends, and may you humble yourself in continuing to listen and follow his guidance and direction. Amen.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer.
Thank you, Valerie and Keith. At this time, I call Dan McDonald forward. Right now, you're the only thing holding us.
So I'm going to go right into it. Senior Patrol Leader, front and center.
Can I get the color guard front and center? Color guard, please retire the colors. Appropriate salute. Two.
Okay, thank you all, and the food is ready. So